You know, we've always kind of said it here on this platform that marriage is a sacred covenant that is designed to foster love, respect, and partnership. That's the whole point of marriage.
Yeah.
But within this covenant, there are moments of misunderstanding and unmet expectation can surely arise. That's normal.
Yeah.
And on today's episode, we're going to bring a controversial topic to the forefront. It's going to be dealing with when does a spouse's need for intimacy cross the line into marital abuse? And conversely, can a spouse abuse their partner simply by neglecting their needs?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And come to think of it, there was a viral story that recently sparked debates online about a lady that said her husband sexually abused her in the office during her working hours. And this is what she said, right? She said, "My husband came to my office unannounced today and asked me to tell my secretary not to allow anyone in from 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. I thought he wanted to talk about something important, but no, he wanted sex. I told him it was my working hours and that I couldn't. He got pissed and tried forcing himself on me. I screamed for help. I give him sex at home when he wants it. We don't have any real sex issues pending, so I don't know what exactly came over him today."
At least not that she knows of.
When help finally entered my office,
Help.
he was fully naked. He got dressed in their presence, then removed his wedding ring, and threw it on the floor. He's not home yet. I doubt he will be. He has not called me since this afternoon. What do I do or say to him when he returns home?
And the question we're trying to answer today is, was the husband's behavior an act of violation, or was it an emotional outburst that is fueled by unmet needs?
Right.
Can a wife unknowingly abuse her husband by consistently neglecting his emotional and physical desires, especially in the area that we're talking about today? Or can a husband unknowingly abuse his wife even by forcing himself on her?
Those are good questions. Yeah.
Welcome back to my Darling Bride podcast, powered by Refuge and Fortress Network. On this podcast, we dig, we discover, and we discuss precious gems for the building or the rebuilding of kingdom homes and relationship. I am Pastor Emmanuel Udansi, and I'm joined today by my own special Darling Bride, Lady O.
Hello.
Of Refuge and Fortress. And of course, we couldn't get PK on this one, but we'll get him again on the next one.
We'll get him again.
If you're yet to subscribe, please go ahead and do so now. Also, don't forget to comment and share down below. All right, so here's what the Bible says. It says in Amos chapter 3, verse 3, it says, "Can two walk together except they be agreed?"
Yeah.
And I love this verse. I mean, I bring this verse up so many times.
I mean, it's good. It's heavy
because it deals with togetherness and it deals with working together.
Yes.
And it deals with partnership.
Yes.
It deals with agreements. And it says that unless two people agree, they can never walk together. And this is so true because it is reminding us that there's got to be harmony in relationship, in marriage. And that harmony in marriage starts with understanding and mutual agreement. In this case particularly, the husband expected his wife to prioritize intimacy with him whenever he desires it, right? While the wife, on the other hand, expected him to respect her boundaries at work.
Yeah.
And neither of them anticipated the other person's reaction.
Yeah.
The husband did not anticipate that the wife would say, "This is my work hour.
Call for
get
help.
Out of here,"
scream.
And then call for help. Oh, yeah, that part.
He probably didn't see that.
Right. And then again, the wife did not expect his reaction.
Right. To kind of be like,
to get angry, get dressed, drop the ring, and just walk away.
Yeah.
He didn't call, and he hasn't been home, according to her. So we're gonna examine first thing from his perspective, right?
Okay.
His perspective says, looking from his perspective, if you will, from a man's perspective, right?
Yeah.
Some men express love physically, right?
Yeah.
Even when they feel disconnected.
Yeah.
Especially when they feel disconnected, they seek intimacy as a way to reestablish some form of connection, some form of closeness. And that is true.
Yeah.
For most men, whenever maybe they're working too much or it's been a couple of days since any form of romance has happened, to kind of spark that again, one of the go-to for most men is intimacy.
Yeah, intimacy.
You know what I mean? So that's from his perspective. That's number one. Number two, just trying to play the devil's advocate here. That's from his perspective. Right, exactly. If he was getting intimacy at home, why did he feel the need to demand it in that moment? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, for example, if they were intimate in the morning before they went to work, he wouldn't need to go home.
Supposedly,
go to her office
to try to demand it. Something.
Exactly. And then another question we have to ask from his perspective again is, was this an issue of emotional rejection rather than physical need? Did he just feel like, you know what, the wife has not been emotionally available,
right?
And
so it's like almost getting her attention.
Exactly. And we're going to do something today, whether you like it or not, kind of thing.
Right.
And again, let's give context to this. This is a Nigerian couple living in Nigeria, and there's a cultural connotation to that, and that's why I kind of want to give context to it, because there's this mental expectation or cultural expectation in Nigeria that, hey, you're my wife, if I demand sex,
you gotta give it,
kind of thing.
What I say goes.
Exactly. So you got to kind of understand where
his perspective is coming from.
Exactly. Right. And from her perspective, you could say that a wife is not obligated, or she's not obliged, if you will, to comply with her husband's demand at all costs.
At all costs.
That's how she feels, right? We're looking at things from her angle now.
Hello.
I know you want it, but hey,
come on now.
I'm not obliged to just give it anytime you want. You know what I mean? That's perhaps her perspective. Now, that doesn't speak for all women.
Yeah.
Some women don't care. Anytime you want it, I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? They don't mind. But from her perspective, giving her reaction to the thing, it's almost like saying that, look, yes, I'm your wife, but I don't have to consent to this if I don't want to.
Yeah.
If I don't want it, I don't want it. You know what I'm saying? It's still my body anyways. My body, my
body, I forgot
my rule, my body, my
body, my choice. My choice,
yes,
my body.
There you go. Another point from her perspective is, did his reaction indicate a deeper entitlement rather than love? Going back to the context of that Nigerian thing that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Is this something?
I could get it.
Exactly. Is it coming from a place of entitlement?
Yes, rather
than a place of love? It's mine. I can come to your office and get it. We can do it at home. It don't matter. This is whenever I demand it is when it should be given.
Right.
You know what I mean? So from her perspective, she's probably thinking, is this more of a macho man kind of thing? Like, are you trying to prove something here? Or is this like spontaneous love?
Right.
What's really going on here? I'm playing advocate for both of them right now. You know what I'm saying? And then for the lady, another point she may want to be asking, or she might be asking herself, giving her reaction, is that while the men desire physical connection, women need emotional
security, stability.
Right. Emotional stimulation. Stimulation is the word I'm looking for. And so did his approach disregard her feelings, emotional stimulation, whatever she may be asking for? Are you you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to kind of paint a picture here from both exactly. And the question then becomes, when does a spouse's demand become entitlement? And when does refusal become neglect? Because that seems to be the chief issue here from both angles.
Right.
The man feels the wife has been neglecting his needs.
Right.
She, on the other hand, feels He's being entitled.
Yeah.
And it's a thing of, it's my body, it's my choice. What are you feeling entitled about? What you got to say about that?
I mean, the whole situation is really tricky, and we were only given such a small context.
Yes.
But if we're to even dissect the things she said, I feel like a lot of things went wrong in this situation, and it's hard to point fingers and say this person. We can't even say who's right or wrong. I think just examining the situation.
To be quite honest, there is no, you rightfully said, we don't have a lot of context here.
Yes.
Because you would need more information. What's going on at home?
Right.
What happened with the man? Why did he think that way?
Well, what is going through his head?
Exactly. And why did she cry for help?
Right.
I mean, this is not a stranger.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it kind of forced us to go back to the first story question that I said, which was number one, just given the current information that we have in the confines of what we know so far happened, right? Based on what she said, right? Was the husband's behavior an act of violation, or was it an emotional outburst that was fueled by unmet need? We don't know the second part of that question, but at least we can go back to the first part of it, the part A of that question.
Right.
Was it an act of violation?
On what she said, I mean, she didn't really indicate like she made a statement like they don't have intimacy issues. She didn't really indicate if there's anything deeper going on in the relationship. But just going based on that statement alone, I want to believe he didn't go in there with the mindset of, I'm going to force myself on this woman.
Well, it doesn't matter what the mindset is. Was it an act of violation, period?
Me personally, I don't think so.
Why not?
Because my mentality when it comes to marriage and it comes to spouse, me and my husband, is I can't look at you and say you abuse me.
Okay.
If I don't want something, if I don't want to have sex, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I say no and you're like, I still want it, do you know what I'm saying? Because of your approach to me, I would give in. So it's never gonna be a, oh no, you know what I'm saying? It's never gonna get to the point of where it could be deduced as
an act of
an abuse or violation. You know what I'm saying? Not saying there's not times where you might be in the mood and I'm not, or I might be in the mood and you're not. Not saying those things doesn't happen, because realistically it does happen. You're not always in the mood at the same time. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But for me, it's never to the point where it's like you wanna get intimate and I'm so like, no, leave me alone, to the point where I scream for help. You understand what I'm saying? It's never gotten to that point, and you never really force yourself when it's like, I'm not really in the mood. It's like, no, I gotta have it now, and boom, you pin me down to the table, slap me up on the table and whatnot.
Never that serious. Never that serious.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's different perspective, you know, and for me, thinking about it, I feel like it didn't have to get to the point, from the man's perspective, it didn't have to get to the point where he had to, because for somebody to get to the point of show up at your office, wants to have sex, like tell your secretary nobody should come in, and she's like, oh, what happened? You know what I'm saying? It's not like she automatically guessed that's what he wanted to do. That says something too. That means she didn't perceive it as something he was coming to do. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, so she wasn't scared or afraid when he came in with that kind of mentality. She was shocked when he's like, want to have sex. It was
unexpected.
It was more of, you want to have sex here kind of reaction.
And I think, so there's two things going on with that lady right there. First, it was unexpected.
Yeah.
Right, and so she didn't even know.
So maybe this is the first time he's been spontaneous like that.
So it's like, this is unlike you.
Where's this
coming from? It's like, who did you see on your way to work?
What did you want?
Exactly.
What's
going on here? Like, what you trying to do to me, right? And so she wasn't expecting it. She never thought that would happen, and that's probably because they've never really done it before. And if they have done it before, they've never done it in the office, like that level of spontaneity or being spontaneous. But when we talk about if the behavior was an act of violation, I think the truth of the matter is the answer to that question is going to have to be personal.
Right.
Because you are the one who would define what violation is.
Right, exactly.
And based on what we can deduce so far, she felt violated. That's why she cried for help. That part right there, the fact that she cried for help was the act of violation. Because this is bringing front and center boundaries and expectations. Like, there are women who don't like to be tickled.
Right.
It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're the husband, the boyfriend, a stranger, co-worker. It don't matter who you are. They just don't like it. You found it, they just don't like it. So, first of all, you're a co-worker. You try to tickle a woman. She's looking at you like, "Are you crazy? Why are you doing? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing?" And then now you're the husband. You're trying to tickle her, and she turns around. She maybe not look at you like you're crazy, but she will tell you, I don't like that, so stop that. Why are you doing that? You follow what I'm saying? And if you keep doing it, it becomes a thing of, why are you doing that?
Right.
It's violating. You know what I'm saying? It's becoming an act of violation now, because you're doing something that I told you makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
His problem was not knowing what was going to make her uncomfortable.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying? And the reaction he got was not what he was expecting.
Yeah.
And that kind of bruises ego right there.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
That bruises ego, that threw him off.
Exactly. Yeah. Because now you're crying for help. You're calling for help on your husband.
And it looks a little bit bad. And this here's the thing. That's why I said she didn't really give too much perspective. But I think even her reaction after can maybe say something too, because even if she said no, I don't think he expected her to scream for help. Because then it paints a picture of he's abusive to her.
Yes.
Like, this is not the first time.
Danger. Yeah.
And that could have just been the first time he's been spontaneous, or the first time he's acted that way.
Yeah.
But it also makes me question, like, why would you, if you guys were home and he did this, would this have been fine?
Right.
Would you have screamed for help? Would you have called 911? Do you know what I'm saying? Because then it tells a different story. And then your reaction to how he reacts is even funny, because if he is abusive, you should be kind of happy he kind of left. You know what I'm saying? You should be kind of happy he hasn't come home, because if he was abusive, he'd probably come home and beat you for acting that way. Do you know what I'm saying? Just patterns of an abusive person. So I feel like there was a lot of misunderstandings and miscommunication on their part on this matter, where it's like, it seemed to me like he was just trying to be spontaneous, and maybe he should have actually just left it. My own take is, listen, regardless of whatever it is, if I'm telling you I really don't want to do this, the answer is, and I'm serious about it, I want you to honor that and respect that. If you don't like it, it's something you can sit me down and talk to me about. You understand what I'm saying? But obviously I would never be in a place where I would scream like where I would, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you're not that person to me. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of questions in this place. So I feel like he could have handled that completely differently. Now also, she took it to another level.
A whole new level.
The minute she screamed for help and called for help, like, her husband was a complete stranger. You understand what I'm saying? And I feel like she also could have handled that differently as well, because now you have a man embarrassed by the situation, having to dress up naked in front of people, strangers looking at him like, who's this guy? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's a mess that was created on maybe an innocent act. And the sad thing about that is, what is that saying about the marriage in general? Like the union. You follow what I'm saying? Because now they've brought their inside matters. They brought it out
to the world. They dirty laundry. They brought it out. You know what I'm saying? Now, because no matter what the case may be, the man could never go back to her office, and the workers, the secretary is not gonna, she's never gonna look at him the same anymore.
And it's not strange. People do that. You have couples that like to be spontaneous.
Absolutely
when they show up like the door and they
Can we lay the foundation for that?
There's nothing wrong with what he was trying to do.
No, not at all.
It's just a matter of him not knowing whether his wife likes something like that or not.
And
that
then
was
his
the problem.
approach to it.
And his approach to her reaction was just not uncalled for.
So I really just wanted to take the time to say, because the reason why is because when you read this post that you brought up, right? A lot of people quickly labeled this as marital abuse, but other people questioned if there was more to the story. The wife herself admitted that they have no ongoing intimacy issues at home. So the question was, what caused the husband to react this way?
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just kind of wanted to say, was there an act of violation that happened here?
Yeah.
And because being spontaneous in marriage has never been an act of violation to anyone.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That question would need to be a personal thing. Yeah. Are you the kind of person who embraces something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Or are you the kind of person who shuns something like that? And it's important for your spouse to know that before pulling a fast one on you like that, because things like this can happen.
And even if your spouse embraces being spontaneous, time and place too matters. Sure, there's some people that they who they are at home is different from who they are outside.
I'm not even gonna. I'm not gonna unpack that, because we're not.
No, what I'm just trying to say.
No, I get what you're saying.
What I'm just trying to say is they have a different face and character that they put up when they're in, especially in the workplace.
And the reason why I said I'm not gonna unpack that is not because I'm not because of anything else other than the fact that if we were to really unpack that and go into why most people do that and things like that, we'll be here for another episode.
Yeah, for sure.
But to your point though, there are women or men, right?
All men
who feel like they need to maintain a certain persona outside of home. And when you come from home and you try to mess that up, they don't know how to receive
so
that.
It's less about the act and more about what it is they're trying to protect. You know, so it could be that too. And then
but then communicate that with their spouse.
Exactly. I feel like that's where the issue is, as far as where the man is concerned. You know, you got to know your spouse to a certain level to know things that would rock with them and wouldn't.
Exactly.
Just popping up like that and that being her reaction, you kind of should have already known that something like this might have thrown her off. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like there's just a lot of mishap and and I just want to put a disclaimer out. This is not the way we're looking at this story. We're not looking at a couple that is in an abusive or toxic relationship.
No,
we're looking at it from a point of view where it's like there's a miscommunication or misunderstanding.
We don't want to draw that conclusion like that.
We don't want to draw that conclusion,
because a lot of people in the comment section are drawing that conclusion.
Because some people actually automatically go
to an abusive relationship.
Some people automatically just think he's an abusive person because he reacted like that. But maybe he's not. Maybe he was just surprised at the reaction, because they trust and believe there are people that are in abusive or toxic relationship. There are people that go through those kind of things where it's like, whoa, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said there's just so many factors to this story. His reaction shocked her too.
Exactly, because that's what I was gonna say. There's an undertone to the whole situation where it's telling that they don't have a problem at home. Number one, she said it herself that to her knowledge
there's
was
no issues.
That's number one. Number two, she's actually concerned now that he hasn't
come home. Exactly.
He couldn't have been that bad of a
somebody person. To be in an abusive relationship.
Exactly.
Especially knowing how you've reacted and how you've embarrassed him. You might be thinking twice, like, actually, I don't want to go home. You know, if you're in an abusive relationship. So it's not just clear cut to just kind of determine and say because that was his reaction, it's an abusive relationship. I feel like people are jumping to conclusion a little too fast because of just the fact that he wanted to just kind of force the situation. But you know, some people even misunderstand that and think the forcing part is also part of the action, the play, because there's some people that like being aggressive when it comes to things like that.
You opened it, so I'm gonna go there. That's the question now. Can a husband unknowingly abuse his wife by forcing himself on her?
Unknowingly, I think yes. I feel like
pause right there. Please understand my question.
This is
a husband, couples that are married now, unknowingly abuse his wife by forcing himself on her? And the reason why I want to kind of pause there is because yes, husbands can abuse their wives.
Of course, definitely.
I mean, you can beat your wife. You can all kinds of stuff. You can abuse her financially. You can abuse her emotionally, and things like that. But when we're talking about
sexually,
when we're talking about sexually now, right? From a sexual standpoint, your wife says no, you're saying yes, and because you're saying yes and you want to do it now, you go ahead and just say, we're doing this thing whether you like it or not, right? And it kind of just happens, right? we classify that as sexual abuse. Is there such a thing as sexual abuse in marriage?
I would say yes.
Okay.
There can be sexual abuse in marriage. I feel like it all boils down to mutual respect.
Okay.
And communicating and understanding each other, right? And like we said earlier, abuse looks different for everybody. The definition of what abuse, and a lot of people throw that term out loosely a lot of times. You know, what she just said, if she didn't describe the story, if she just put my husband sexually abused me, everybody would just jump on the side and say, oh my gosh, he abused her, until she tells the story of what happened. Then you can deduce whether it's abuse or not. You know, so a lot of people throw that word loosely out, which is unfortunate.
Or whether you would classify that as abuse or not,
exactly.
Somebody else might
not. So I feel like it really depends on the individual as well. What do you classify as abuse?
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? If the husband says no and the wife says no and the husband says yes, and it's like, yo, let's do it, and he flips her around and they start having sex with her and she enjoys it, will she still classify that as abuse? She gets into it. It could just be she doesn't have the energy and somehow she enjoys it and gets into it. You know what I'm saying? Is she then upset after she's done with it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's such a thin line and fine line in that when it comes to labeling something as abuse, especially in marriage. It's hard to just say. I know some people on this listen, or people out there can be like, once she says no, no is no. But sometimes it's such a gray line, even in marriage, right? Because sometimes you can say no based on how you're feeling in that moment, like I don't really want to do this. But the minute you get into it, you kind of like glad you kind of went with it. You know what I'm saying? So you can't sit there and then classify and say it's abuse because I said no and we still kind of went. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's a very, very gray line in it, and especially because you have, that's why I said it's really personal, because some people cross the line, truthfully, you know, you understand what I'm saying? Because it goes as much as hurting your spouse. If I'm saying I really don't want to do this and you're forcing yourself on me, you've not only just quote unquote abuse me, you've hurt my feelings, because now you're not listening to me. I'm trying to speak to you, I'm trying to tell you how I feel, and you're disregarding that. That's another way I can say it's abusive. You understand what I'm saying? Or it could just be opposite. It could be I'm saying no but I really mean yes. There's some relationships like that where it's like it's playful, it's like I want you to just keep pushing on. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's really personal, and it really depends on you as an individual. What do you classify as crossing the line?
You know the thing about marriage is oneness in everything. Oneness in emotions, oneness in enjoyment, oneness in action, oneness in, what do I mean by that? We should strive for example, if I'm happy and you're sad, we're not one. On that level. So my challenge is, how do I get you happy so that we can be one? So that our emotion can be one, so that we can feel the same thing. You follow what I'm saying? And we can as one enjoy this situation. And it's crazy because even us sometimes, we do this where if you want to go to a restaurant, for example, and I've just gotten so tired of that restaurant, I would say, sure, let's go, because you want to go. You know what I mean? And then you would say, well, I don't want to go if you're not going to enjoy it. And I'm like, no. It's not about me. If you want to go, let's go. You know, I'll go, I'll eat, you know, but you're like, no. It's an experience. I don't want to have the experience by myself. If you're not going to enjoy it, I'd rather not. You know what I'm saying? Because there is oneness. It's not just about you going to enjoy the food and watching somebody else looking at somebody watch you. You want both of us to equally enjoy the experience so that we can be happy. And that goes the same for sex. You know, I used to think that there's no way you could literally say a husband could abuse his wife in marriage. Why? Not because it's not possible, but because it's a gray line. It's a very, very thin line where what do we call abuse? Where do we make the classification? Because if I'm saying yes and you're saying no, but then you're the kind of person who likes me to keep pushing. And so the more I say yes, the more you're saying no, but yet the more you're turned on.
Right.
But if I stop saying yes, you get upset because you can try a little bit more. And you can just keep pushing. You can just keep asking.
Right.
Eventually, I was going to say sure.
Right.
But then you just stopped.
Yeah.
Well, he stopped because he wants to respect you.
Right.
And he didn't want to cross the line.
Right.
So he stopped. But then you're not happy that he did. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or you're the type who likes that stuff, right? Yeah. You like to be flipped around and just
you like the aggressiveness.
You like the aggressiveness, right? It really is an individual per couple situation, but you can abuse in marriage. And the one way you know if you are abusing your spouse, even in marriage, is when the feeling is not mutual.
Yes.
When it's not being equally enjoyed by both, stop it.
Stop it.
Because what is the joy in me, quote unquote, forcing myself on you, and as I am,
the only
you're
one
crying?
Enjoying it. Exactly. Yeah,
what's the point in that?
That's an easy way to tell you to stop. That's an easy way to tell you this is.
You follow what I'm saying? No, because honestly, because it's not just about sticking your man thing into whatever is available. Yeah. It's not just about that.
Yeah.
It's an experience.
Yeah.
It's an emotional, spiritual connection that we're trying to have.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not in it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And the moment you know that it's not going to happen, why continue?
Why force it?
Why force it?
Mm-hmm.
If you know that it's not an experience that she's going to enjoy, why force it?
Why force
now,
it?
Somebody will say, well, there are situations where you ask for it, she says yes. It doesn't mean she's going to enjoy it. She just wants to comply. She just wants you to have whatever you want. She's just not going to fight you on it. Like, she's tired. She doesn't want to. But because you asked for it and she's a nice lady, she says, okay, sure. I'll turn around. You do whatever you got to do. We'll go to sleep. There are hey, again, I hope we're not like being too rated 18 on this episode.
I mean, we're talking marriage,
but this is you know what I'm saying? This is real stuff in marriage, right? And I don't want anybody to feel like weirded out by this conversation. This is real life conversation. This is not for the giggly ears or
no, this
immature
is this
audience.
This is things people go through in their marriage.
So I just wanted to kind of pause that because as I'm talking, I'm like, wait a minute.
Some people are like, oh my god.
Yeah, no. This
he
ain't
said sex.
What? No. That's not one of those. Don't piss me off. but going back to what I was saying, right? Some people say that, right? What if she just avails herself, not because she wants it,
but she just wants to,
you know what I mean? Because she just want to deny you of it, and she feels like it's your whatever. She just avails herself, right? And that connotes that she doesn't necessarily have to enjoy it or really be in it to give it. Understandable. The same way goes for the man too.
Yeah.
Right? The woman can come up to him and say, I want it, and he's like, I'm really not in the mood, but he's sure. You let it go because hey, you asked for it, right? There are instances like that. In those instances, is by consent.
Yeah.
Is by I'm voluntarily saying yes. Not because at that point it's not really about whether you're having an experience or you're sharing an experience.
Yeah.
It's just about duty.
Fulfilling a duty. Yeah.
Dutifully and beautifully.
Yeah.
There are dutiful actions and then there are beautiful actions.
Absolutely.
There are dutiful experiences and then there are beautiful experiences.
And there's nothing wrong with both.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with both. Right? The issue is where we don't know where to draw the line between dutiful and beautiful.
Yeah.
And then between both and complete disregard for your spouse.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a direct violation. So because and I'm so glad that I asked that question, because a lot of people are like, if we're married, there's no such thing as abuse. No, but there is though.
There is.
But there is, because if it's not dutifully granted or beautifully, granted, then
you can classify that as abuse. Yeah.
Dutiful, because the consent is given.
It's a choice.
If I'm saying it's a choice. Beautifully is an experience. You know what I'm saying? Whether she said yes, no before, he said yes, no before, but there's a lot of laughing, there's a lot of giggling. He seems to be enjoying this. Everybody's laughing, it's all good, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Then please, by all means. But the moment you start to notice, hold up now. You ain't laughing.
This ain't looking right.
You ain't smiling.
Wait a minute.
This is very unlucky. What's going on?
Let me pack this up.
Let me pack this thing up before you call it something else, right? And the reason why is because I've always been an advocate for men. And I don't want a situation where men are put in tough positions where is this abuse? Is this not?
Right.
Should I touch you? Should I not?
In your home.
Exactly.
Marriage,
even in marriage, I don't know. Should I mean, I think you're enjoying it, but are you really? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we got to be careful how we approach these things. And if you're listening from Nigeria or anywhere else in the world, you may not understand the connotation of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But if you're in America or anywhere in the West,
what we're talking about,
you want to be very, very careful. You want to be very, very clear on what is going on here.
Yeah.
Because it can flip
easily. I think it's a matter of, number one, marrying right. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Marrying right, and you and your partner are on the same page on things. I feel like if you're on the same page of things, it doesn't leave room for misinterpretations. Like exactly.
Yes.
And I kind of want to balance it out a little bit too, because a lot of times when it comes to sex in marriage, we're a little hard when we're discussing abuse or not abuse. We're a little harder on the men.
Yes, we are. And
I kind of want to balance it out, because I feel like, when it comes to men, what you can classify as abuse or not abuse. But you asked the question in the beginning, can it be classified as abuse when the spouse neglects the needs of their partner?
Absolutely.
And this is speaking to, and maybe the reason why we say that is because I feel like we could say, generally speaking, for the most part, when it comes to physical intimacy and sex, the men are always more driven than the women.
True.
You get more initiation, you get more wanting it more than the women. It's not like women are not sexual beings, but for whatever reason, maybe that's just how we're made. I don't know.
No, it's
for
not.
whatever reason for whatever reason
don't make us
men,
for...
I'm just saying, for whatever reason, the men are more physical driven when it comes to sex than the women, right? Let's not even dive into that debate. Let's just leave it there. All right.
Sure.
So, but we want to balance it out, because sometimes hiding under the notion of, my body, my choice, abuse, not abuse, we forget that when you get in a kingdom, and I want to emphasize this, kingdom marriage, right? A marriage built on God, built on Christ, a Christ marriage. When you get in one, you have a duty and responsibility to each other.
Yes.
And one of that is giving each other pleasure.
Yes.
Satisfying each other's physical needs. And we have to kind of remind ourselves of that too sometimes, because sometimes the no, I'm good, I don't want it, no, don't touch me, that could destroy a marriage. That could push a man out.
That is in fact a form of abuse.
Yeah, so that is a form of abuse.
Yes, it is.
You have to understand that. Yes, sometimes you might not feel it,
and
but
to be clear, you're talking to the women.
I'm talking to the women.
Okay.
You do have a duty. I'm talking to the women for the majority of.
For the most part.
Because I know there's some men too like that.
The one who tend to deny their spouse.
So to the women,
intimacy.
You have a responsibility to satisfy your husband. You have a responsibility to tend to his physical needs, just as he does to you. They don't have a problem doing that. But you have a responsibility. So sometimes when you don't fulfill those needs, it can push the man away. It can cause him to pull back. It can cause him to feel the need like, man, you keep saying no. What am I supposed to do now? And you know what? I don't know when we were having this conversation. Yeah. And I think you had said, I said, in a situation like this, I would have rather him not force himself and just walked away. you're better off not even getting to that point. Just walk away and just go. And then I think you made a statement and said, so what is he supposed to do? And I said, if it's gonna turn into abuse, he's better off going outside to go find somebody else to go get satisfied with.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
If you cannot satisfy your man at home and you expect to leave him high and dry, do not be surprised when he finds somebody else satisfying him.
It's called emotional blackmail.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't.
Especially in Christian homes and marriages.
Yes.
Where the expectation is that you're already a God-fearing person.
Right.
So you're more afraid of your relationship with
God. So you don't want to destroy that. You don't want to step out.
And they know that you're not going to, so they use that as emotional blackmail.
Hear me well. Let me repeat myself. I don't condone cheating. I don't condone infidelity. But what I'm saying is you contribute to the actions of your spouse. If you're not doing what you're supposed to do as a spouse in your home, in your marital bed, do not be surprised when he steps out or she steps out.
I'm going to say a very unpopular statement. I'm going to make a very unpopular statement here. Even as a pastor, I'm going to say it. And we're going to just let the chips fall where they may. So,
where's this going?
Number one, there's two things I want to say. Number one, the Bible is very clear on not causing somebody else to sin.
Fall. Yes.
And this is right under that category.
This is right on it.
That's number one.
This is right on it.
Number two, what you got to understand, for women especially, who use emotional blackmail on their Christian husband, deny him of things like this on purpose, which, by the way, God calls wickedness.
Yes.
Right? But they deny him of that. Do you know that if you mess up your home because of this, God will forgive the man? You follow what I'm saying? What I'm saying essentially is this fear that you say you have.
Yeah.
He may not cheat on you.
Yes.
He may not step out on you.
Yes.
But he can definitely get fed up.
Absolutely.
And once he gets fed up, he would tell you, you know what? It's been nice. You got to go.
Yeah.
And once you leave, he is going to reconnect with somebody else.
Yeah.
And you know what? His relationship with God may be rekindled.
Yes, absolutely.
And whatever you thought you were using to hold him down as emotional blackmail may just end up backfiring and blow up right in your face.
We have a responsibility.
It's wickedness.
We have a duty. And at the end of the day, I feel like you guys have to come. Number one, you and your spouse have to be on the same page. But let's always remember, marriage is not just I want to do just because I want to do. It comes with responsibility.
It sure does.
It comes with things that you even when you don't feel like it, you have a duty. Like you said, dutiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful is there. It will come. You do that. But there's some beautiful where it's like, listen, I'm not even in the mood. But I don't want to leave you like this.
Let me give you an example of beautiful. Monday to Friday, very early in the morning, we got to be up. We got to go drop off these kids. It's a dutiful responsibility. It ain't nothing beautiful about it.
Ain't nothing beautiful about it. I'll tell you right now.
I'd rather be sleeping.
I'd rather
be doing something. I'd rather be going to work. But we have to. Matter of fact,
5 a.m.
if they're late, it's more of a poor reflection on the parents.
You. Exactly.
Than it is the kids.
Exactly.
I don't get it.
So
they got a homework. We the one doing the homework.
Yeah.
I don't get it. But hey, it's a dutiful responsibility.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing though, but for some parents, it's a beautiful thing. They love that stuff.
Yeah.
They love the homework. They love to drop off. They love to pick up. They enjoy that. Now here's the thing. Whenever I'm like not busy, I'm not working, I'm on vacation, there's nowhere to go to early in the morning, I make it a point to drop off the kids and pick them up myself. Whenever I'm around, I'm like, no, I have to go.
Yeah.
Even if I'm sleeping, wake me up, please.
Yeah.
Somebody wake me up.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's a beautiful thing for me.
It's a beautiful thing for you.
It's not dutiful. I don't do it because I have to.
Yeah.
I do it because I want to.
Yeah.
That's how it is in marriage. There are things that you will do because you have to. And of course, there are things you do because you want to, and those things are highly appreciated.
Yeah.
But even the things that you don't want to do, you're gonna have to do because that is what it means to be married.
Yeah.
For goodness sake.
Yeah. And when you decide to make this commitment with somebody else,
Yeah.
you're choosing you're making this choice as well.
Yeah.
You're making the choice to be dutiful when you have to be.
Yeah.
You have to understand that it's not just fun, it's not just play games. You're not getting into marriage just to play games. And trust me, dutiful can be beautiful too. Because at the end of the day, when you do what you need to do, it keeps peace in your home.
Yeah.
It keeps happiness in your home. You know what? I have satisfaction. I might not be in the mood to have sex right now, but I'm satisfied that you're satisfied. I'm happy that you feel good. You understand what I'm saying? So I might not want to have sex. That might not be what I want to do right now, but I feel good because I made you feel good.
I hear you.
You understand what I'm saying?
It's like when a woman makes food, she's not really hungry, but she loves the fact that her husband appreciates her cooking.
Yeah.
And he always, just chow down on whatever she makes.
Saying? So she's
and
happy.
That gives her satisfaction.
That's it.
The last question.
All right.
She said, was I wrong for saying no? Was I wrong for saying no to my husband? Did I overreact?
He has to get dressed in front of your co-workers. They saw his nakedness. Yeah, I think,
But then again, did you overreact? Because if you hadn't called for help, what would have been?
Okay, wait. Was she wrong for saying no? I don't think so. I wouldn't say she was wrong for saying no, because at the end of the day, you should be able to express how you truly feel to your spouse. You should be able to tell them how you really feel. You shouldn't be afraid to say no if that's how you feel. And your spouse shouldn't react in a bad way because that's how you feel. Like I said, you guys need to be on the same page. You need to have respect and honor and love, because that's love too for each other. So if you're asking me something, I'm telling you, nah, I don't really feel this. You should be able to respect the fact that that's how I feel, whether you agree or not. So was she wrong for saying no? Absolutely not. I don't think so. Did she overreact? It depends on the situation, right?
Yeah.
It depends on the situation, because we don't know the full context of their relationship. So we can't say she overreacted or didn't overreact. Do you understand what I'm saying? If he does abuse her at home, I wouldn't say that's an overreaction.
I feel like homie came in on a more aggressive note, maybe wanting to do what he's doing right now. Wanted to drop the rings and never come home.
Oh, like that was...
And that was like a
maybe he knew that was going to be her reaction.
Yes. He knew. No, not even a reaction thing. Reaction or not, he was just coming in like, I'm going to do this one more time, and that's it. You will never hear from me again.
Right.
I'm gone.
You see, the thing is...
But before we wrap it up tonight, let me just ask this question. Let's put it up there for discussion. Where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line between, or where do we discern, rather, frustration, right, and red flags? Frustrations and red flags, meaning, was the man just like tired and frustrated, and he's done with your no's, and he's like, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm frustrated already. Like, this is not happening. You're my wife, for goodness sake. I haven't touched you in months. Was he frustrated, or is he a rapist in the making?
I feel like...
Is there like a real red flag we need to watch out for here?
I feel like in both situations... How
do you discern?
In every situation, there's patterns and there's things you could have seen that could have led up to that. It's not something that just wake up and just happens. I feel like there's been things that have been going on that led up to that moment. If it's an abusive person, that wouldn't necessarily be the first reaction you would have seen. You would have seen some red flags, no matter how little it is. If it was an abusive person, now if he was just frustrated, you would have seen it too, because he would have probably voiced out those frustrations as well. So I feel like it really is up to the individual. No, you don't have to voice it out by talking. You could voice it out by action. You could voice it out by reaction.
Sometimes there are some people who bottle up. They won't say nothing. They just leave you be. Let you keep doing you.
That's a reaction.
No.
If you don't naturally or normally do that, see, that's a pattern you could pick up.
You see, you remember when they say it's the quiet ones you got to watch out for? It's what I mean. Sometimes people won't say nothing. They are unfazed. They act like it's nothing, but it doesn't mean it's not nothing.
Okay, let me say this. The reason why I don't necessarily agree, right, is because, number one, when you know an individual, you know how they are, you know how they react to things, you know things about them. When something goes off course, there's always a reaction. It might not be loud. It might not be something that's like an outburst. But there's a change that happens if it affects them.
No, that's what I'm saying. When it comes to somebody who is a quiet person, naturally, who bottles things up, the outburst is what you just saw. It comes hot. It comes hot and it comes on a rush.
I feel like that's always a end reaction.
Not mostly.
I feel
not
like
most of the time.
There will be some patterns. Some.
You not understand what I'm saying? There are certain men that naturally overlook things, and if that is the natural state that you know them to, like that's how you know them. You know, for lack of a better word in Yoruba, they say, "Oh, the guy would just overlook a lot of things." Not that he's not upset about it, but it's quiet enough to say, all right, no problem.
That's dangerous.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I'm not saying it's not.
That's dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
The reason why I'm saying that is because that's even dangerous is because, for example, with you now, you're the kind of person where, number one, you speak your mind.
Hallelujah.
You don't hold things back.
Praise
if you don't like
God.
it, you don't like it. If you like it, you like it. Take it as it is. You know what I'm saying? The only person that can stand in front of you and say is God. Anybody else? So with you though, you might not say something if you don't like something, but I would know because
that's not my natural state. I know that. We're talking about people that it is their natural state.
No.
You ain't meet some people yet.
If you are the kind of person that bottles it up, that I can't even tell when something
you can't get a reading on them. Yes,
that's dangerous.
Yes.
Because you can wake up one day and just no, red flag. No, you know how? No, let me go back. Actually, you should know. You should know, because sometimes you do some things that even you yourself know is messed up. If that person doesn't react, that's a problem.
You're not understanding.
No, you don't understand what I'm saying.
No. Here's the thing. There are men, and then there are women who knows that, and so they keep pushing buttons.
That's even
no. Trust me. Some women would do all kinds of stuff just to get a reaction from their man, knowing that you've never seen a situation where woman will slap her husband and say, "Give me some reaction. Just do something. Just be angry."
That's dumb, because
just
when he does get angry, you know what I'm saying? You kind of wish he didn't get angry. So it's dangerous. It's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. Do not be the kind of person that battles things in. Please don't. If you want to be in a good, successful home, in a good marriage,
don't bottle up.
Do not bottle things up, and don't push buttons. If you see that he ain't reacting to something that he should react to, you might want to go about it a different way, because that's if
you mess around and press the wrong button one day,
come on now,
it's gonna blow up on you. You better
slap him, and he just looks at you.
You slap a whole man,
and you slap him again, and he just looks at you, and you want to try to slap again.
Hey.
No. That's dangerous.
Like one of the video we saw, and the guy was like, "But do you think it's worse?"
He said, "Well." He said, "No, I don't believe in abuse or hitting a woman." He said, "But if I tell you shut up, do you think it's wise?"
You think it's wise for you to keep talking?
Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, I can't. Oh Lord,
the guy was like,
"That's wow." I mean,
I don't touch women. I don't believe in abuse. But if I tell you shut up, do you think it's wise for you to keep talking?
It contradicted everything he said. So you do believe in smacking up your women?
You think there's wisdom there?
Oh Lord!
You better stop.
My God!
Oh, okay, we gotta go.
If you should be able to get a read on your person. I'm sorry.
My God.
You know how we went back to what shapes you, what makes you, what breaks you. Those things are important to know.
Absolutely.
They're very important to know. I don't want to look at you like, oh my gosh, what happened? Like,
what you mean?
Who are you?
Oh, we gotta
go. Let's go.
Oh man, here's the thing. All right, so
that just got me scared for a lot of people, man.
This is why I love MDB, right? This is why I love MDB. MDB is the time for us to actually have this real life conversations and address them in the most humanly way possible. Not politically correct
right
way possible, not theologically correct way possible.
not pointing fingers or
Right, exactly.
just kind of
You
like
know, and
painting the picture.
then I like it also because it shows the human, the human touch
Yeah.
to the conversation.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want it to be so robotic, you know, so theological,
Yeah.
so biblically heavy.
Right. It's practical. It's real.
It's practical.
It's raw.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's practical and it's raw.
It's honest.
And it gives room for expression.
Yeah.
Of thoughts, ideas, you know what I mean? Of even the Bible. What does the Bible say concerning this matter? You know
absolutely.
what I mean? But that's why I love MDB, because we can do this. We can laugh. We can have a banter, you know, like they always say in London.
Oh my God.
All right, so we gotta go.
Yeah.
But was she wrong for saying no? No, she wasn't wrong for saying no.
She wasn't wrong for saying no.
Could she have gone about it a different way? Yes. Could the man have gone about it a different way? Yes. There's a lot more to the story than we know. We just discussed in 1 hour of discussion based on what was given to highlight a few things.
Yeah.
Dutiful and beautiful. Communication and expectations, right? Interpretation and misinterpretations.
Yeah.
Frustrations or red flags.
Yeah.
Right? These are things you just kind of want to keep in mind. And what connotes abuse to you?
Yeah.
What is an act of violation for you?
Mm-hmm.
Because it will be different for everybody.
Yeah.
It will be different for every couple.
Yeah.
And these are things you have to discuss in the inception of your relationship.
Absolutely.
Do you like foreplay?
Absolutely.
Or do you not?
Yeah.
If I show up in your office randomly, would that make you happy?
Yeah, exactly.
Or would it not?
Yeah.
Will it throw you off?
No.
Or would it not?
I'm the kind of person.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta know your spouse, man. And you cannot love one thing about your spouse and then get upset when they act that way. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If, for example, there are stuck-up women.
Yeah.
And some men love that stuff.
Yeah.
They love their women being stuck up.
Yeah.
And so when you have a stuck-up lady and you go meet her in the office and she's like, oh no, we don't do this. You know this. It shouldn't shock you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know who you married. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know? But may the Lord help that union. May the Lord really help that union and bring joy back into that home.
Yeah.
We've established one thing though, that the Bible says: the wife does not have authority over her own body. The husband does not have authority over his own body.
Absolutely.
They're supposed to avail themselves. They're supposed to yield to one another. That's in 1 Corinthians chapter 7.
Yeah.
They're supposed to yield to one another. And that's what the Bible says. That's the truth of the matter. And that's what kingdom relationship, marriage is supposed to look like, right? And it does not mean forced intimacy is acceptable.
Yeah.
No. Instead, what it's trying to emphasize is that both spouses have a duty to care for one another's needs, physically, emotionally, spiritually, sexually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It says, men, love your wife as Christ has loved the church, patiently.
Yep.
Loving them sacrificially.
Yep.
Loving them selflessly.
Yeah.
You know? And then there's a command also for women to honor and to respect their husband.
Yes.
I understand she was afraid for her life, you know, but there's no honor or respect in the way she reacted.
We don't even know she was afraid for her life.
I mean, right. I mean, she called for help, so that's gotta you know,
count for something.
But honor and respect your husband, not out of obligation, but out of love for him, you know?
Yeah.
So that's all we got for tonight.
Yeah. Love, prioritize each other's well-being.
Yep.
You know, and love and trust which will flourish. You know,
yes.
So all right. I mean, this was a serious conversation. This was intense.
Oh my God.
Well, thank you for that conclusion, PY. Here is the MDB news of the week. In a positive nationwide update, the U.S. Department of Education has announced a new initiative to provide a more equitable access to STEM education for underserved students. This program aims to bridge the gap by offering mentorship, scholarships, and advanced learning resources to encourage young people in underserved communities, to help them pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, and math.
Which is what
for
STEM
those that
stands for.
don't know what STEM stands for, it means science, technology, engineering, and math. This initiative is set to improve educational outcome for thousands of students across the country. This is really great, actually. Visit the U.S. Department of Education for more information.
All right.
I love it.
That's a beautiful one right there.
Yeah.
I love this quote by Miles Monroe, and this is one we're going to use for the MDB quote of the week. It says, "A thriving marriage is built on intentional love, not accidental neglect."
Ooh.
Dr. Miles Monroe said
Come
that.
on now.
May his soul continue to rest in peace. Peace be upon him.
Yes.
Prophet Monroe, Miles Monroe. A thriving marriage is built on intentional love, not accidental neglect. All right.
Key intentional.
Yes, absolutely. So I hope we've shared a tip or two to help solidify your kingdom union, not only with yourself, but also with others, and most importantly, with God on today.
Yes, do not forget to like, share with your friends and family, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below.
And until next time, be the light,
be the salt,
and remember,
all things are possible if you believe.
Ciao, ciao.